Charlie has been just a tremendous person. He's a great man, and it was sad that he lost his life. But I think you said something incredibly powerful about unity as it relates to Charlie Kirk.
He was incredibly influential. I knew about the college campus tours, his willingness to engage in open and constructive debates. His life was taken away. And for what? For what? Because he may have had a different opinion than yours, whatever that opinion may be. And to me, that's why I felt compelled to really speak out about it, because I think it speaks to the level of indecency and pure evil.
Are you getting the same sentiment from people that you know in the private side of it?
No.
Yeah, people that's not public. Are they feeling like you? Are they?
It's cold-blooded murder. That's what happened to him, and that usurps everything. When you start talking as if somebody's position, their verbiage, their ideological tilt is somehow justification for such a vile, vicious act, I don't want to talk to you.
All right, Barrister. Okay, let me play the second video again so we can just talk about both at the same time.
On Jesse a couple nights ago, I said, look, respectfully, we don't even know anything about the President Trump shooter. What do we know about it? So we have to kind of start getting answers. We're not getting answers. I want answers about COVID. If China released that virus intentionally and unintentionally, do we know that yet? We don't. That opens it up for the next pandemic or the next black swan event. 2, who shot the president in the ear? What happened there? What do we know about this guy? What was the motive? We know nothing there. 3, this right here event with Charlie Kirk, the MLK of the conservative youth movement today. He is the equivalent of MLK. You can say whatever. Some could even say he's bigger than MLK because of social media, because of what's going on with social media and how messages go viral. He is probably more famous today with his impact worldwide than MLK was in America, because MLK wasn't having his clips going viral worldwide. That did not exist back then.
All right, Barrister. Did you have all the audio? Was the audio of both clips clear to you?
Yes.
All right. What is your opinion about Charlie Kirk's assassination? Because we have so many Nigerians seem to be fed. Again, the power of the media cannot be overemphasized. The media is so powerful in this global world now. Very, very powerful. So many Nigerians are keying into global, all this media propaganda and lies and here and there, whatever, all this negative narrative. What is your thoughts on, do you know Charlie Kirk? Before his death, have you been following him? Do you know his story? And what is your opinion about his assassination?
Assassination, I didn't hear much of him, but in the aftermath, I had to look him up, and I was amazed that such a project had been going on, and I wasn't really aware of it. I was really amazed that if this thing has been, the extent of his organization, the extent of his reach, really took me by surprise. I thought I should have known more about him, but when I look back, I see that, look, this issue, some people were happy about it, about the assassination, they are celebrating, but the American society is a marketplace of ideas, where you go and sell your ideas. And if that issue should be stopped, then the American society is no longer what it is. The man had never been violent before. He had never done anything. All he does is to forcefully present his views and ideas, some of which, of course, I disagree with. But I admire him for his tenacity, for his resilience, He's a school dropout, but look at what he has achieved. So when you look at him as a person, as a human being, you have to envy him. He is strong mentally and physically. He is resilient, and he is forceful. He has not backed down from an argument. He has not given up on an issue. He has gone from campus to campus. And if you dig a little bit, you can see that what he was doing is a counterpoint to what has been happening. Let me give an example. Qatar, the Arab money that has entered American universities for the past decade or more is in hundreds of billions to try to change opinion in the US. Qatar alone is funding about 10-point-something billion into US universities, Texas and others, to change opinion of Americans, principally driven against Israel and other Islamic issues. This has been eaten up into American universities and American young people, students who are in the school. What Charlie Kirk was doing is a counterpoint to that. He was unashamedly Christian, and he talked about his Christian values in the most forceful manner. This is now a market of ideas. They are selling, he's selling. He didn't have to be assassinated. It completely undermines the American society and what it stands for.
All right.
Not that I personally agree. So a lot of the things he said about Christianity, I fully support, I agree with him. But it's not some of the things he said, I also did not agree with him.
We'll definitely come back to what your disagreements, what he actually propagated that you disagreed with. We'll come back to that. But let me make my points. Probably after my point, we'll come back to the areas you disagreed with him on. And okay, look, Charlie Kirk is, in reality, I have followed him. Someone I admire so much, followed his antecedents, his activities here and there. He's someone that his influence is that huge that without him, President Trump wouldn't have won this second election. He was very, very instrumental with young votes. President Trump got the highest number of young votes in the history of American politics. It was to the glory of God through Charlie Kirk. And that is why Charlie Kirk, President Trump respected him. He's someone, President Trump said it on national media, that Charlie Kirk would just call him, Mr. President, I have a function tomorrow, social function tomorrow. Can you please be there? President Donald Trump said, Charlie, for God's sake, I am the president of the US. You don't just call me and book an appointment for a program tomorrow or whatever. So you can imagine how close, how dear the man, Charlie Kirk, was. A 31-year-old guy. What he has achieved in 31 years is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Like you said, Charlie Kirk was a school dropout. He dropped out not because he wasn't brilliant. He dropped out because he was frustrated and he was being slowed from his vision. The Turning Point USA, he established Turning Point USA at the age of 18. That was when he dropped out because he had a vision. He had something to push. He said he realized that the university education, especially in the US, was a scam. So he decided to put it that they are just there to indoctrinate people, to tell people, to teach people how to think, not what to think. Sorry, what to think and not how to think. Just like you noted earlier, Qatar spends billions of dollars to this effect, to influence students, and not just students, people growing up, the young generation, so that at the end of the day, by the time they are becoming mature, it becomes the norm in the US society. Charlie Kirk discovered this at the age of 18. That was why he dropped out of school and established Turning Point USA at the age of 18. That Turning Point USA now is a global organization. It's a multi-million-dollar project. He has employed active staff, 300 active staff, and over 50,000 ad hoc staff globally. This man has gone from school. He goes to the lion's den. No, look, this man is the epitome of tolerance of other ideas. Nobody does that. No conservative person in the history of US has done what Charlie Kirk did. He goes to the campus where the lion is to sit with the lions, to actually dialogue, to actually ask them, what is your reason? Why are you on that side? And this is my reason why you should be on my side. Just sharing ideas, listening to people, and people listening to him. This man was winning the hearts and minds of young students on campuses. This man has done what no one, in fact, just like those two people I played, those are very, very popular podcasters in the US. The other one, the second one who mentioned MLK, Martin Luther King Jr., is a multi-millionaire, even if not billionaire, is super rich. He has a podcast. So honestly, before I watched that, I already said that to myself, that this man, Charlie Kirk, is much more popular than MLK, both in the US and globally. Why? For objective reasons. Charlie Kirk has done far more than what MLK did. Charlie Kirk lived a much more better, upright life, moral life than MLK Jr. I don't know if you know about the MLK, Martin Luther King Jr.'s moral life. That man, his moral life was nothing to write home about. That man he was morally depraved. There was so much he did behind the scene. He was a very good social activist. There's no doubt, civil rights activist. There's no doubt about that. But his personal life behind closed doors was nothing to write home about. He lived as a Christian. He proclaimed to be a Christian, but he didn't live the life of a Christian. Juxtaposing with Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk lived a morally upright life. When I say he truly believed, he really lived a Christian life. He was so proud of Jesus Christ in the public. He didn't, at every given opportunity, he never stood away from actually projecting, being proud of his faith. Family values here and there. So this man has done what. Now we talked about him dropping out. He dropped out for cogent and expedient reasons. Not because he was dull, but because the university was going to slow him down from his vision. Now, this man dropped out. A university dropped out, but he has lectured and tutored professors. He goes to the universities, debates with professors, shut the mouths of professors and deans of departments. He traveled from Harvard to Cambridge, to all those Ivy League universities. I don't know if you watched the clip. They invited him at Cambridge University in London. So I don't know if you watched that clip. It was hours long, whatever.
That very one with Cambridge. I watched it.
When he was invited, he was not given the topic of just like I do with you, Barrister. You don't know what I'm going to. Most of the topics we discuss here, I don't give you prior notice, especially the ones I play on videos. The same thing. Charlie Kirk was invited, and that's how you know how intelligent someone is, and that's why one of the reasons why I respect you a lot, sort of. And the same thing happened with Charlie Kirk. He was invited to a very prominent university, Cambridge University, to meet with the hottest brains, both among the youths and the professors. What happened? He wasn't given topic of discussion. He wasn't told. He wasn't informed about what he was going to talk about. Nothing. He was just coming and he just took the bait. And what happened? He defeated, I don't know, you said you watched them. He defeated all of them. He was just alone standing, and everybody, They actually gathered their most eloquent students, their most charismatic, their most intelligent and brilliant students to face Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk defeated them. This is someone, they were prepared for him, but he was not prepared for them. He didn't come. He was, because he is an organically or naturally a prepared person, because he's so, God bless him with so much intelligence and brilliance. So, but when it comes to topic of discussion, he was not prepared. They didn't give him the room for preparation. But they were prepared, fully armed for him. Yet the person who came unprepared defeated all the prepared students, including their professors, shut their mouths, defeated them in their arguments and in the debate. This is a man who debated everyone and anyone. He's not scared of meeting anybody, no matter your side. He will do it respectively. He will do it. He will do it in a very coherent, persuasive, convincing manner. A sort of this man. All this man has done in his entire life has been in the positive side, in the side of God, doing the right thing, trying to make people think the right way, trying to pull people out of this liberalism, this leftist ideologies. But what did the media do? The media, of course, just like you noted, they sold the negative to the public. What he didn't do, they called him racist. They called him all manner of names. This man was never this man was the one who made the blacks prominent under Donald Trump's regime in the first term. He literally took the black. There was this bill that Donald Trump signed that benefits the blacks most. He was the one. He was instrumental to it. He made so many blacks prominent under Donald Trump's first administration. The first interview, the first clip I played, the black guy. Okay, one of the black guys. He was actually I've forgotten his name. He is someone that. He actually testified that Charlie Kirk, he became what he is, more of what he is, because of Charlie Kirk. But what happened? The media tagged him as a racist. This guy was never a racist. He was far from being a racist. He was a very liberal person, somebody who was tolerant of everyone and anyone around him, and he comes in contact with. All he did was just noble. Everything that man did was just noble. Now, he's killing. Honestly, the enemy, the devil didn't know. It's just like when even the Bible says that if the devil had known that killing of Jesus Christ, the death of Jesus Christ will actually be a victory for Jesus Christ, if he had known, he wouldn't have killed Jesus Christ. The same thing has happened in the case of Charlie Kirk. I bet you, if the devil and the leftists, who are the agents of the devil, had known that the assassination of Charlie Kirk will attract such kind of popularity, such kind of sympathy, such kind of explosion of Charlie Kirk's idea. Do you know what is happening? After he died, that 37,000 in the US universities, we have 37,000 chapters. 37 people that have registered for the Charlie Kirk Turning Point USA idea. 37,000 has registered. 37. We now have about 37 chapters, not 37 members, 37 chapters in all the universities. They have registered for it. So I think initially I wasn't happy that when he was shot, I watched the video live. When he was shot, that video, honestly, I have never, because I don't go with, I'm celebrities. I don't joke. All the VIPs or celebrities, I don't watch that. I don't follow them. But this man, so many people, celebrities have died. I just glozed over it and nothing. This man's dead because when it was live, I watched this video. I didn't know when tears rolled down my eyes, my hair, my face. Honestly, because that video was so graphic. I don't know. Did you watch that video? Did you watch the video?
Yeah.
So graphic. But at the same time, I was asking, then he was under ICU. I was pleading, God. I honestly, initially, I thought I had the faith that he was going to live because I knew this guy was representing God. I didn't expect he would die. But when he died, I felt bad. When Trump announced his death, I felt bad. But later, I realized, but 2 or 3 days later, I found out the reason why God allowed him to die. God allowed the devil to take his life. Just as God allowed the devil to take the life of Jesus Christ and brought it back. The same thing. You see the reason. Everywhere has exploded. The message is going farther, and it is becoming even stronger. Charlie Kirk's idea and message is going to be even much stronger and go more viral. Just like you noted, nobody knew. Many people didn't knew globally. Very many people didn't know Charlie Kirk before now. But including you, you knew him, but you didn't know how powerful he was, how productive he was. But here today, so many people who never heard his name, are hearing his name today. So the devil thought they were doing him bad, but to God be the glory. Today, Charlie Kirk is even much more, 100 times more popular than he was when he was alive. So that is just it. Now, Barrister, let me ask you, what was your disagreement with his ideas, some of his ideas?
First of all, let me agree with you that he has become far, far more popular in death than when he was alive. Maybe if he had not died, maybe I would not have taken time to review his views and his ideas and his organization. I would have just been hearing of Turning Point, but I would not really. But in that, he has really, really expanded his organization and cemented the ideas that he stood for. Like I said, he was very resilient, forceful, but respectful in his ideas which he said. I was talking about some of the things he said that I didn't agree with. One of them is his regret for the passage of the Civil Liberties Act back in the early 60s. Yes, his opinion was that act should not have been passed. And the other one is also along the same line. He has been arguing that people should stop reflecting back and rather look forward. In other words, like for blacks in the US who constantly bring this slavery history as a reason for their backwardness, as a ready excuse for where they are today. The issues of single parenting and others. I think on that point, I do not wholly agree with him. I do not put him as racist. He is putting a viewpoint. A lot of people believe or share the same, but some people are afraid to say it.
I share the same opinion with him. Now let me
as not to be tagged as racist.
Now,
a lot of people in the US believe or have the same ideas.
Yes, I do. Now let me this issue of Civil Rights Act. I think people, I don't know if you understood him clearly, because although I respect your intellect, but I think you took him out of context. There was never a time Charlie Kirk, probably, I don't know the video you watched, and if you watch any video in that regard or you read something, I think you took him out of context. Charlie Kirk was never against Civil Rights Act. He was never against it. Remember, the Civil Rights Act was actually passed Democrats were ardently against that. It was the Republican Party that actually fought for that. Charlie Kirk was never against civil. Probably you took him out of context. Secondly, this issue of black, whatever you talked about, I have that same opinion. I've had to challenge black Americans in myself here, because the thing has impeded their growth. You don't look. It is a failure. It's someone who is a perpetual failure that chooses to stick with the past. The past has become the past, especially when it has to do with your destiny. You have to learn to move on. If you continue to hold on to the past, you cannot move on. The past is a baggage that you just have to let go. The memory may not go, but let your mentality let it go. That is the point. Look, Barrister, we are in the system here. We know what the past, the thought of the past has done to Black Americans. It has impeded their growth. It has made them to be very lazy. It has made them to be hateful. It has made them to be antagonistic. It has made them to be bitter. It has made them to be slow in growth, to be impoverished. Look, they are using that as an excuse why they have refused to grow. They are using that as an excuse of why they are, for God's sake, what about the blacks that have become billionaires today? That are thriving in their. You go look at the blacks that have become something in society today. Did they hold on the past? Did they stick to the past? Did they allow the past to remain glued to their lives, to their present? No. They let the past go. That's why they succeeded. And that is what Charlie Kirk was actually propagating. That's what he was advancing and projecting, and to let people understand that, look, this should stop. Area of slavery has come and gone. Let us talk about now and the future so that we can grow. Leave the past. He didn't say they should wipe out the memory of the past, but he just said, let the past go so that the future can take its course.
That to that extent, to that part of it, I agree with you. But my issue is that we have to understand that the slavery has constituted an emotional and psychological disability.
Barrister, no, they bring talk. Barrister, no.
Disability. Wait,
for God's sake, the children should move on.
Let me make a point. I said to the extent that we should cast it aside and move on, I wholeheartedly agree. But to diagnose and know that this is a psychological disability equivalent to a person who has no leg, you call him a disabled person. This is a psychological disability in the sense that centuries of this slavery has removed the mentality from these people. It is not a Tea Party to shift and jump out of that.
Now, let me ask you, Barrister.
Barrister,
let me ask you. The Republicans, I don't know if you are aware, I believe you are aware of it because you know so much. If you are aware that the Republican Party are the ones that actually fought for the end to slavery, and they were the ones who fought to pass it to law.
Abraham Lincoln.
Correct. Now you ask yourself, who are they? Now you ask yourself, who are the blacks supposed to be angry with or angry at? Is it not supposed to be the Democrats? The Democrats they fought tooth and nail not to end slavery, but since the inception of since this signing of this Civil Rights Act, what happened? What has happened? The Democrat Party has always, traditionally, foundationally, gotten the votes of the blacks. Up to tomorrow, they are still enjoying that votes. So what are those votes? So what are you talking about? Hold on, Barrister. That is a contradiction of the so-called psychological trauma. It's a contradiction. You should be, if you are angry at the slave masters, Democrats were the ones who owned more of the slave masters. Yet you have been supportive of Democrat Party. Is that not a contradiction? It is a contradiction. You can't have it both ways. That is the point.
Yeah, I read somewhere, I cannot readily recall, at the point at which blacks became supporters of Democrats. I read a review of that. There was a particular point that somebody suggested it was from that point that the blacks now turned en masse to the Democratic Party. He told that the supporters of the Republican of the Republican Party. But what I'm trying to see is we should be cautious. I remember what Martin Luther said. Back then, even back in his time, they used to say, let the blacks pull themselves by their bootstraps. And he said, how do you ask a person to pull himself by his bootstraps when he does not even have the bootstraps? That's what he used to say. You are saying pull yourself by your boot when you don't even have the bootstrap. We must recognize the deep psychological attack that this had on the average black man.
Barrister.
That is the reason why. Let me learn. That is the reason why most blacks are not creating wealth. You see, the black man wants to buy a Cadillac, wants to buy the gold ring, wants to buy the famous blacks you say are billionaires. They are not creating wealth. They are not creating generational wealth. They are virtually scattering their money. That is why a Mike Tyson is today broke. That is why some of them who had made hundreds of millions are broke. The Jews, they create generational wealth from the family to the next. The blacks, because of the attempt to show off,
Barrister,
or to equalize.
Let me give you reason. Let me give you reason.
They spend money on necessary.
Let me give you reason, Barrister. Let me give you reason. Because this issue of, I've been for a very long time, I've been a very ardent critic of the attitude of the blacks, the black Americans in the US. I am telling you. It's something I have this confrontation all the time with them because they really have to snap out of, they really have to snap out of the past and into the reality. And that's just it.
How do they do that? How do they do that?
Let me tell you one. Let me ask you. Let me tell you something. This thing happened in the 60s, 50s, before 60s actually. It happened since the 18th, 19th century. So, and it actually ended in I think 68, around in the 60s. Most of our parents then have died. Most of these people, no, what am I talking about most? All the slaves have died. All of them. All. I don't think there's anybody who was a slave who still lives today in the US. None. So they are all gone. So what we have are children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Tell me.
Where do the children and the grandchildren learn from?
Hold on. That's the point. Now the children and the grandchildren picked something from their parents, the suffering of their parents. Their parents inculcated this idea into their head. Look, we are just talking about if you can criticize terrorists, then I expect everyone who criticizes terrorists to criticize this self-stigmatization of the black Americans. Honestly, because it is the same thing. The terrorists were indoctrinated either by parents or by people they respect, people they follow. The blacks were indoctrinated by their parents and by what they heard. So it behooves you to take the responsibility of independence, self-searching, self-scrutiny, to really find out that, okay, this was right. It happened to my parents, but I can change things. I can do things the other way. Yes, I had this from my dad. My dad told me this. He experienced it, and probably, possibly, I saw what he passed through as a child. But I can make a difference.
No, we are not talking at cross purposes. I wholeheartedly agree that they should snap out of this. But I sympathize with the difficulty of crossing.
The more you begin, Barrister, let me tell you one thing. Let me give you an analogy. No, hold on, Barrister. Hold on. Because you remember, I don't know if you have this idea like I do sometimes. There are some people you see, like person like me. If I meet you, if I save you, if I come and I notice you want to commit suicide, the rope is already there, or the drug you want to just pour it, and I come meet you, whatever, or luckily I bumped into you trying to commit suicide. You think I will pet you? I will not. I will not pet you. And let me tell you, the petting is what will keep that person in self-pity. Petting is what will perpetuate that person in self-pity. I am telling you, I will not pet you. I will so aggressively rebuke you. What I will do, I will rebuke you. I rebuke you in a way that you will be so sorry that you even tried to poison yourself or to kill yourself. And that is the problem we are having with the Black Americans. People like you said, you have to empathize with them, you are sympathizing with them, you understand their situation, their psychological. Look, enough of this sympathy or whatever. This is the time to rebuke them so that they can snap out of it. If you don't rebuke them to stop, to wake up from slumber and snap out of their foolishness, they cannot move forward. And that is why they are so lazy today. That is it.
The solution is not a stick. But look, Black had their colleges. The solution is in education. Their colleges over the years, the kind of education they should have been exposed to from Black colleges should have given them the materials to be able to snap out of this psychological barrier. And,
now Donald Trump they hate. Good. You mentioned Black colleges. The Donald Trump they hate. These Black colleges were having issues before until Donald Trump came that first term. And that was what Charlie Kirk actually was instrumental to. Donald Trump it is his administration that actually funded the Black colleges more than any other administration in the history of US governance. Yeah, this Donald Trump is the person they call racist. The Democrat Party were the ones who actually signed the policy, the law that incarcerated so many blacks. That was very detrimental to black population than any other. But Donald Trump is the one that has upturned it and signed and repealed that law. Bill Clinton was the one that signed it into law. But Donald Trump now has repealed that.
What I'm saying is that
now let me tell you something. Now, you talked about Black colleges. The truth is today, everything that has to do with minority has changed, not like 20, 30 years back or before. The truth is the policy have changed. I am a contractor. Now, even in the contract, there is a 30%, as we in our bidding system here, you are bidding for a job. The government, the law is 30% must be reserved for minority businesses. 30%. If there's any bidding process that's going on now, 30% of the moment in this country, the moment you are in the minority, your business is owned by a minority, you have 30% chance of get 30 percent, not 30% chance, but 30% more 30% of the chances of 30% chances of getting that job. Because you are in the minority. So the minority businesses are gaining, they have better chances to get contracts. It is so the same policy applies to educational system today. The same policy applies to all other professions today. The government have, what else do you want the government to do, for God's sake? The blacks are just there, about 13% of the population.
That's what I'm saying. That is the sympathy aspect of it. But the real thing is from the education. These are children born from slaves. Give them the education that will enable them jump that psychological barrier and become free. That's what I'm trying to say. The educational curriculum of Black colleges and where they go should prepare them to be able to jump that psychological barrier. These things you are talking about, 30%, these are sympathies with their condition. But what really will help them, is not even dashing them money. It is giving them the ability to jump the psychological barrier.
Hold on. Let me give you another shocker. Now, in the Black population, the schools in the Black population, in some states, you cannot find one college, high school student that is proficient in mathematics, both primary school and secondary school. Proficient in mathematics. Whose fault? These cities are run by Black mayors. These states are run, some of these states most of these states, no, all the states, all the cities that have highest number of black population are run by black mayors. The states, some of the states that have many black population, or mostly black no, not most, there's no state that have mostly black population, but has many black population are run by Democrat governors. The mayors are Democrats. The city council members or board members are Democrats. And when you say, usually what the US does is where you have majority black population, you have the black people ruling them. Tell me, whose fault is this? Why will you blame it on the whites? Why will you blame it when it is even the killings? We have the highest murder rates, homicide rates in the US. It's in the black population. Detroit, Chicago, Baltimore, name them. So many cities. New York. So many cities, all of them black people ruling them. Black people killing themselves. Whose fault is that? Why do we have to blame that on slavery? Why do we have to blame our wrong, our crimes on the slave masters? Why? That is my point. The blacks are the ones killing the blacks. The blacks are the ones misadministering the lives of the blacks. So what are we talking about? Why do you have to blame the US for it? You will have to hold people accountable. That is the problem, Barrister. So people should stop blaming the whites for our own problems.
Well, I still come back to the point that, look, if somebody came out from slavery and you gave him $1 million, it does not take the slavery from his mentality. And that money may be, it may not even be put to good use. The foundation is to take his mind from the slavery.
Barrister,
now, if you are talking about blacks running towns,
correct. Tell me something about that.
Have the same mentality. They are not fully qualified to do that because they come from the same port. They come from the same port. So they have not liberated themselves. How can they help liberate others? They have not liberated themselves.
So you ask yourself, so why can't you, hold on, Barrister, hold on. Then why can't you let the whites who can manage business, who can do the right thing, why can't you elect? We have the same problem in Nigeria. Then why can't you elect the right people, regardless of the skin color? That's the point. They keep if a white man goes to contest in such areas, they don't even the poll. If you see the poll, the electoral or whatever, the public poll, that discourages any white man from going. They don't want to, because of this. What you talk about, this issue of ideology or whatever, that this issue of stigma, they don't want to see white people ruling them. Look, the blacks are passing through what the northerners are passing through. A black man would rather vote a fellow black man that will perpetuate them in poverty than to vote a white man that will liberate them out of poverty. The same mentality that a Hausa Muslim has in Nigeria. The same problem. And that is my frustration. I'm so emotional about this because there are so much opportunities for the blacks to actually do much better than what they are doing right now, or to pull away from where they are today. But they keep perpetuating themselves in penury and power and deprivations, in penury and poverty rather. For God's sake, it is unbelievable. Honestly, Barrister, it is frustrating. These blacks, the system has actually, that mentality has made them to be, black Americans are lazy. What they just want is handout, just like a Hausa man. They love handouts.
They don't have good leaders. The so-called leaders of the black, they are not leading them in the right direction. They are not leading them from mental emancipation.
They are black leaders, just like the Hausa leaders, are so selfish. All they are after, they are so corrupt to their bone marrows. Honestly, there is so much similarity between the black Americans and the Hausa North in Nigeria. So many similarities. Because anytime I see a black American here, their conduct, their life, it just reminds me of the Hausa North. So sad. All right, Baris, I think that brings us to the end of this show. And that is it. Honestly, this American problem is this, especially that has to do with the blacks. It's just pissing me off.
Charlie Kirk murder, I really, it's a very bad, very, very bad development. But at the same time, it has also brought I think his organization that he left behind will even thrive better now.
Yes, they have started thriving better, of course.
It will contribute in a far, far more positive way than it used to.
Yes, I agree with you.
When he was alive. And if anybody thought he would take benefit or credit from it, it's going to backfire big time.
Yes, I agree with you. It's already backfiring. I bet you, I am telling you, at this point, whoever spearheaded this will be regretting why they did it, because it has given birth to millions of Charlie Kirks, millions of Charlie Kirks. Now, yesterday, his partner the wife has taken over the CEO. She's going to fight. You know, one thing I like about women, when you meet a woman that is in a predominantly men's profession, the woman always stands out, and stands out better than the men. That's exactly what will happen. Watch the wife. The wife will fight tooth and hell. She will fight. You will see this thing will go so farther than Charlie Kirk could have done it. And that is it. Yesterday, there's this announcement. They want to continue massively to visit all these campuses again. So again, to continue from where Charlie Kirk stopped, they want to advance it. So they are not chickening out. They are not giving in. They are not caving to all these threats or intimidation. For where they have multiplied. We have so many Charlie Kirks now.
It occurred to me that this will be one way of taking back America and preventing America from going down that destructive on the present day.
That was Charlie Kirk's idea and vision. That was one of the reasons why he pulled out of school. Not because he was less brilliant. It was because the school education was slowing him down. And heck, like I was saying, he shut the mouth of professors. This man, he dropped out of the university. Do you know what? This man that dropped out of the university, he knows so much more than some professors, even academically.
He's
so well read. He has written so many books. He has written a book that is a bestseller on the platform of New York Times. He has written books, and he has been so intellectual. He has engaged intellectuals with intellectual argument and defeated them. Those people that the so-called academicians and professors.
I was actually amazed seeing him whenever he presents his argument to people. I really saw a very brilliant and intelligent person who knew what he was talking about.
Of course. That man has whatever. Some students will come. There was a student who just came and said, try to denigrate his academic qualification. What makes you qualified to speak about this, about that? He asked the student, what are you reading? Say economics. Do you know this? He mentioned names of economic giants and books. That student didn't know any of them. He now asked the student, so what? That is my point. That is the reason why I said universities, education is a scam. If you don't know such names, so what are they teaching you in school? And if you don't know such name, yet I know them, I've read about them, I know so much about them. Yet you call me an unqualified person to speak in such manner. I know more than you, but because you have academic qualification, you think you are more qualified than me? It doesn't make sense. Anyway. All right, Barrister, thank you so much for your time. And viewers, this brings us to the end of this show. Thank you for being with us, and see you again on our next episode that is coming up next week. Remain blessed.